a really good time to start and to go the way and to build a good team and to really build a good product, and don't need necessarily anymore this Silicon Valley approach of much money does everything.
Do you think we as Europeans sometimes adore US entrepreneurship too much?
I think US entrepreneurship reaches very far, and also looking into the future, these technologies that are developed are extremely important for every one of us. On the other hand, we do have a lot of talent here and good people here and do not really lack something on this side. When we come a little bit to the AI topic in this context, it's called the tiny companies at the moment. That means if you have a bunch of really talented people, you can reach extremely far now, which you just could in the past when you had a lot of money in the background. But the world is in change, business is in change. It will probably not be the same as you learn now in university. It will be different in a couple of years. It's the beginning of a new era. AI changes a lot, at least technology products, and I think also others as well.
We spoke a lot about alternatives and how our future will evolve. What do you think is the best and worst case scenario when it comes to AI?
The best case, if we really find new knowledge through AI, to really have a huge improvement in the knowledge. And I think we see that in certain fields already. The worst case is
Welcome to a new episode of the Once Upon a Student, a place where we uncover the untold stories of extraordinary individuals. There are some people who win one award in their lifetime and it changes everything. And then there's Dr. Isabell Claus, who's won more than a dozen of them and still isn't finished building. So if you're expecting a typical story of a classic Silicon Valley founder, this episode might surprise you. Because long before the trophies, the headlines and the keynotes, there was a girl asking just two simple questions. What's broken in the system and how can I build something better? She studied across the world from Harvard to Vienna, earned her PhD with distinction, and started her career not as a CEO, but as a researcher, quietly obsessed with pattern, structures, and meaning. Years later, she co-founded Radar Cybersecurity and scaled it into one of the fastest growing cybersecurity companies in Europe, and landed through a successful exit. And honestly, most would stop there, but she didn't. Instead, she started over, again at zero, to solve a deeper, more invisible problem. Not the lack of information, but the overwhelming flood of it. With Thinkers.AI, she's building something that could change how we make decisions with AI. Today, she's a top innovator, entrepreneur of the year, speaker of the year, and recipient of the State Prize of Europe. That's a lot. But this isn't a story about titles or tech. It's about knowing when to let go, when to start again, and what it means to lead even when no one's watching. This is the story of Dr. Isabell Claus. Welcome to Once Upon a Student.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Thank you that you took the time for this conversation. I'm so honored. And Isabell, before we go back in time, let's start with today. You co-founded and exited one of the fastest growing tech companies in Europe, built Thinkers.AI from scratch, and received some of the most prestigious awards in the industry. From the outset, it looks like an unstoppable career. But how does it feel?
It looks like, but it's actually hard work at the end of the day. So nothing comes for free. And the awards come long time after you started and did things and worked hard and thought how to do things. And so it's not that it comes by itself, but you really have to work on it and to do it and have a good team. It's never a one-woman show or one-man show, but it's rather a very good team that keeps together, that's in the good times and the bad times, and is very strong because it's believing in something.
How do you ignite this inspiration, motivation within your team?
It's very hard actually over time because the team changes a lot during the years. That means it's very small at the beginning. You have very lean structures and you basically know each other. You call each other every day. You're happy for the first customer, even for the second, for the 20th. And then the team grows and it's getting simply different. You need to organize everything. You have completely different tasks actually. So you grow with your team and you need a team where you really trust in. So the core team is the most important. And you must also accept that not everybody has only good skills, but also some bad habits.
We're all human beings.
It is. But in these extreme situations, like founding a very fast growing company, you notice it a lot and you basically need to cope with it. You can't say, I'm going now, or I'm not doing it, or you need to accept it and need to work with it. Otherwise, everything is basically gone.
Yeah. And we mentioned already quite a few awards that you got during your career. So do you think those titles reflect the person who you are or the hard work you gave during your career?
It's of course it's very rewarding to really see that others see what you do, they like what you do, they support what you do, and you get a lot of attention on this. Of course, it's good for your business because you need a lot of attention if you start by zero, as we did with both companies, starting by zero and growing it on ourselves. So you need these kind of awards, and it makes you really happy in this moment, but you're not starting the business to get awards. So you start a business because you're really keen on solving some problems, and you have a completely different motivation. And when you then are awarded, then you see, okay, others thought there's a problem too. And so now you reach some milestone in a way on a very long travel also. So it's like traveling actually, and on your way, you see nice things and you get a lot of inspiration also from it.
That's beautiful. And Isabell, if you don't mind, I would like to back to the beginning of your journey. Did you ever dream of becoming an entrepreneur, or?
Actually, my parents and also grandparents, they were entrepreneurs. So it was a kind of in my family, and it was like normal for me. The lifestyle, the problems, the challenges, also the nice things. And so I think this made it very easy for me, actually. I started with 8 years selling stuff in a retail business. Yeah? So started very early, and it was very normal.
Do you remember the first product you ever sold?
I think it was a watch or something. So it's a long time ago, but I was the cashier, and that basically took the money. So maybe this inspired me too.
But it's actually quite difficult to sell a watch. I mean, it's a luxury good, so.
Yes, retail is a very hard business, actually. Yeah. So it came somehow by accident that I always was in B2B later on. So I didn't really dive into retail, but it's not an easy business at all. But still, people make it because they do things differently. They catch up with trends early, and they see their opportunity and they go for it.
I think you have to be very sharp for that. Really see the opportunities and act on it.
Absolutely. And you have to be very self-motivated and never giving up. So this is something I learned when I go at a meeting and it was a bad meeting. You really got very bad feedback. Basically, this is the best thing that can happen to you. Because otherwise, afterwards, you basically can turn it into your strength. Because it's something that is very important. Not everybody says to you, oh, it's brilliant what you do, and everybody needs it, and so on. But you learn very much from the very difficult parts. And if you turn it into your strength, I think this is one of the key secrets.
But you haven't chosen entrepreneurship directly from the get-go. You went on to have a very successful academic journey. Tell me more about that.
Yes, after I studied, actually, I didn't immediately know where to go, how to do, what to do, and so on. So I thought, well, academic is interesting as well. So I saw that I had some topics in my mind which I would like to explore. And I enjoyed it very much also because you have really to work very hard on one special topic and to dive extremely deep and to exchange views with others and to really get an expert in something. And this is why I did that first. And afterwards, I really thought long about it. And maybe it's not even done yet. Maybe I go back to academics one day. Because, I like it a lot to dive into the topics very deeply and to see what you can make out of it and to create something new.
Have you took something along at this journey to your entrepreneurship career?
Yeah, really keep going. So really don't stop and say it's not possible and there is no more knowledge or there is nothing I can add. I think whatever is your main topic, there's always something to add. So humanity is not at its end, or no topic is at its end.
So during your academic career, have you lost track of becoming an entrepreneur one day, or did this fire still was burning inside of you?
It was always burning a little, I would say, from the first day till the end of the studies. It's always there. It's like in your DNA.
That's beautiful. And what was this final ignition that made you go back to entrepreneurship?
It was the circumstances at that time, I would say. So if something fits together, like your team, and it always starts small at the beginning. So it's not that you say, now I go, but if things are right and okay, it's a good idea, let's start it, let's see how far we come. This is, I think, the beginning of everything. It's not planned to be big at the beginning. Maybe you have the vision to, but it is step by step still where you evolve to. So it's basically coming these circumstances all together, a good team together, somebody you trust, where you see, okay, there's progress, we think the same, we can act together, and then basically this train is slowly starting to go. Yeah,
that's beautiful, and it sounds like a very healthy approach to entrepreneurship.
At the end, that's always a good thing to have a healthy approach to it, because it's more sustainable in a way, and I guess it's also a European attitude that even when you talk to investors or customers and so on, they are basically always a kind of risk averse, even if it's not looking like this. But I think it's a European specialty also to take this in consideration and not to just tell about your dream and get money. Yeah, that's not reality actually. So it's rather healthy.
Do you think we as Europeans sometimes adore US entrepreneurship too much?
I think US entrepreneurship reaches very far, and also looking into the future, these technologies that are developed are extremely important for every one of us. And so I think it's something that we really should look at, and we should also work a little bit in this direction. On the other hand, we do have a lot of talent here and good people here, and do not really lack something on this side. When we come a little bit to the AI topic in this context, it's interesting because you don't need 100 millions of dollars anymore to found really good companies. It's called the tiny companies at the moment. That means if you have a bunch of really talented people, you can reach extremely far now, which you just could in the past when you had a lot of money in the background. But now if you really have some very intelligent approaches, some very good products developed, they can immediately scale without much money. So it's turning the entrepreneurship market around. But the interesting thing is for entrepreneurs that you really can reach extremely far, even if you are in Europe and you have only small budgets. So it's a really good time to start and to go the way and to build a good team and to really build a good product, and don't need necessarily anymore this Silicon Valley approach of much money does everything.
What do you think are the most important resources and characteristic traits to found a company in these days?
You have to be very tough, actually. It's the beginning of a new era. AI changes a lot, at least technology products, and I think also others as well. So you need some kind of AI fluency in a way. So you really need to catch up what is happening, what can you do out of it if you want to go in a tech-related business. I think a lot of businesses also died during the last days, and this will go on because they underestimate the change, not only in entrepreneurship, but also in very traditional, conventional products that we have, that somebody in this world reinvents. And then the old approach basically is gone, and there is something totally new. And I think it's a super exciting phase to care about entrepreneurship and to get into this field, but it's very demanding as well.
So I think the psychological aspects of entrepreneurship will become even more important these days. Do you think it's true?
Definitely. There are not many people that really can enter deeply into entrepreneurship, tech entrepreneurship at the moment, I think.
Okay.
It's only the ones that are really very talented, actually, and also in this field really, really deeply into. But it will open up because there will be companies that are scaling and people learn the new approaches and learn to work with tech, really co-work with tech and AI. And so I think it's on the move. We are in a very early phase, which is a great phase, but a tough phase for everybody because the whole world basically is working on new products with AI. Yeah. So it's very demanding from a competitive point of view.
And I see you have a very good understanding also of the technical side of businesses, about development as well. And basically, your first company was a cybersecurity company. So maybe you tell us about the switch from your academical path to founding rather cybersecurity. How did the journey started? How did it unfold that? And how have you managed to successfully exit the company?
Yeah, it started by accident. So it wasn't planned. It was somehow... I did it beside my work, so my team basically was founded already something, and they were sitting in an office and slowly starting to do business in this field and developing technology. And I got to know them, and they needed somebody who can transfer tech know-how into business value and business understanding, basically. Yeah? So cybersecurity is a very complex area, and hardly anyone can really understand how technical things work in this field. You have to dive really deep into. And I think this translation, this was something that I somehow was able to do very well, this role. And there I found my place. But it was still small, and it was just beside another job. And basically it grew very quickly due to market circumstances, the right time, with the right product, and a very good team, and keeping on all the time.
And how did it felt exiting the company?
It feels great, of course, because this is basically the goal of an entrepreneur. Not everybody, of course, but in the tech business, businesses need a lot of money over time. So it's very healthy to sell it at one time from a private owned to a company owned or corporate owned. So it's an important step. On the other hand, it's like seeing your baby has grown up as a child and now it's adult. So it's also tough because you put so much energy in it.
Now you can walk.
Absolutely, it walks alone. It doesn't need you anymore. Yeah?
That's beautiful. Then you're also proud about it.
Yeah, I mean, you see one time that from nothing you can do something very big with your hands and your mind.
I think that your story is also a huge inspiration for many people out there, because you actually built something from the scratch, and not only once, but twice. So what was your motivation to start all over again? Because I think you saw the entrepreneurship side, how difficult it can be, how much you have to sacrifice as well. So what was your idea to like, hey, I want to do it again?
Yeah, from the outside it might look strange, or I don't know, it's a challenge. But from the inside, you sell your company, you say, okay, I want really to do less. Yeah? But you are not used to this level of low energy. So you need to do something. So this something means you basically always go on high power, high pressure, high energy, and then you decided yourself you want to go low energy, but this doesn't work really. So you really want to do it again, or do something else where you can basically push all your energy in. And then again, by circumstance, I met a great team, and they had a good idea, and I thought, let's see how far we come again. And then this train is going, and it's going station by station, and at one point, you can't go out anymore because it's driving very well and very fast. And I think this is a time where we are now, but it leads one step to the other, basically. So that's a journey.
I appreciate it even more that you made the time to be here today as our guest. And I'm really curious. What was the initial idea? So have you got it during your time at the previous company, or how did you come up with it?
Yeah, so Thinkers.AI is caring much about public information that is available basically for every one of us, but it's hard to access. And I noticed this problem during my academic career, where I was searching a lot, and it's hard to find the right information, and basically it's tough to really search on your own the whole time. And AI can do a lot in the search field. And in cybersecurity, then we learned how difficult it is with a lot of data protection to work with data and to advance technology with highly secure data. So there's a huge potential in public data that basically anybody can do something with it. But the main thing is to do something very good with it, and something that others need. And I think so the problem itself was fully understandable from my side. That's why I also went into this topic. And now we reached a very well-positioned product with it, because we cared about many, many details in the background, and simply didn't let it go, but we went on and used also the great technologies that are there, and large language models and so on, that you can do a lot of completely new things with it.
And how does it feel like to compete in one of the most thought about plays in the world? I mean, AI is such a huge revolution. It's even probably bigger than the Industrial Revolution back then. So how does it feel to compete against so many competitors at the same time?
Mm-hmm. It actually feels really good, because there is nothing that is set in stone yet. Not even big companies are set in stone at the moment, but they compete a lot. And in these times, I think there are always a lot of market niches where you can go into, and from a niche grow into something bigger. And from a perspective of planning and strategy and so on, it's important to have the right methods in place, and to, in this dynamic world at the moment, even the methods change a lot. So to keep up with this, I think it's something, growth is something in my DNA, which I learned in cybersecurity, and I can approach to the next level, and this is the next level for me. It's tough, it's highly competitive in a global view, in a global perspective, but at the same time, you see so much opportunity, and you see so much white space, which you can fill with super intelligent products, and again have the basis for even others to build on it. And so this is something, it's like Industrial Revolution probably was for all the entrepreneurs when they were there and developed everything they did.
You have to be very quick, I guess, and also very smart about it, because I guess you have to change many things very rapidly all the time.
It's true. And this is getting even more than less. And I think I see more problems in large companies at the moment where they cannot switch things quickly. But in small companies and with a good team, tech team, you can switch a lot, and you can grow with switching a lot. So it's a completely different environment. And I hope also they teach it at university, because I learned it very different at my time.
Do you think entrepreneurship has changed a lot when you compare the build of your first company to your second one?
Since AI, it did. It did a lot. Because you didn't have a lot of intelligent, automated solutions a couple of years ago, not long ago. It was machine learning, but it was not at all at this stage where we are now.
It was funny and creative. I remember we were the first art gallery who had done an AI exhibition in Vienna. It was funny, but we never thought about it. This is like a huge game changer in the industry. But when you look about it, it's crazy how powerful all the tools have gotten.
Absolutely. So that's a new world, and there's a lot of things to come. But I think that we reached a level where we can now work with on this level, even if technologies still change. But the major thing, large language models, they are there now. They're getting a little bit better, but not explodingly better. But now we can really build on this completely new products, completely new thinking, even very basic tools that we had in the past might get intelligent in future all around us. And that's so much power for entrepreneurs and for people that really think a lot in business terms on that.
And do you think there will be even a bigger selection in the future for employees to get jobs? Because when you think about it, also entrepreneurs, when they build companies, we're told you don't need this huge budget anymore to have the possibility of becoming successful. Yes,
the job market actually is completely in change, I would say. It's interestingly started in the IT field, where you can feel it now. If you don't code with AI, it's basically you're losing a lot of productivity today. And so we feel it today. We can't basically employ people that cannot code with co-code with AI. So there is something where everyone has to catch up. Everyone, for his own sake, has to catch up with AI. And it doesn't mean that everyone needs to code. Not at all. Sometimes I get CEOs who say, I want to code an own thing. That's certainly not possible, because AI products will get so easy for the users, basically. It's made for that. But on the other hand, you really have to align with it, and you have to be able to work with it in your daily business.
And what is your perception about it? Because my thought is that you have to be very good in articulating yourself, what you want to build, what you want to ask. Because if you ask the right questions, you will get better responses.
That's true. That's true. I think it got easier, much easier than 2 years ago. I don't know what you say.
I still see a huge difference, in my opinion. It got easier to get all right to good responses. But if you really see those distinctive tasks where you don't have the feeling that, for example, AI has written it or AI was responsible for their marketing, there are still huge differences, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably it will stay away a little bit more, but I think it's more and more vanishing, and I think everything that from a tech side you see is an obstacle into this AI revolution, there are lots of teams working on it and finding solutions.
Okay.
If you care about the energy, if you care about usability, everything is basically something where people want to really make the way forward very easy.
And on which niche is your startup working the most on to solving?
Yeah. So as I said, we're working with public data, and in this dynamic times today, it's most important for companies, we're working in B2B field, to foresee the future and to plan and to predict. And this is exactly where we deliver a lot of information, be it in very easy fields, like where's the new building project in 2 years, what is going on in 2 years, and making transparency in that, till the other end, very sophisticated prediction tools in international markets. So I think this current dynamic world is very difficult for many companies to plan. And this is where we deliver data and analyze data too. So we get a little bit more comfortable in this dynamic world.
That's extraordinary. And it's honestly one of the things I have spoke with a friend of mine some weeks ago. And he asked me if I'm afraid about AI. And I'm like, I'm not afraid about it. I see it as a huge opportunity. But he told me that what if our humanity starts to lay off all decisions to AI, from politicians to governments to huge corporations. You're basically going into the direction, don't you, with your company?
There's one view, a visionary view, and there's one realistic view. And it needs a lot of small tasks and things in the background that lead to very good AI decisions. So it's not that it comes out of a black box and here it is and it's perfect. So I doubt a little bit this very huge problem that will come. Nevertheless, AI is connected to power, geographical power, political power, and so on. And there are certainly negative influences on that and things you can do and strategically do that can harm others.
Okay.
So I'm a bit between. I'm not saying it can do everything, it will do everything, and we basically are not important anymore. On the other hand, playing a very small role as Europe in this field is a big strategic mistake.
Do you think we lag a lot behind other players?
Definitely.
What can we improve? How can we improve it?
Well, it's not that we can improve very quickly in these things. It needs people, entrepreneurs at the front, in my opinion, young people that really want to create a future on this continent. I think it needs a lot of get-together energies, universities that bring people together, and that also teach in new ways, maybe, to make really people ready for the future, and to catch up these topics very early and very intense. So I think we are discussing of changing the role of Europe in entrepreneurship for like 2 decades, probably.
Wow.
First, from the financial perspective, why don't we invest 100 billion at once? So this was a story that is very old now. And with AI, it became dramatically faster, basically, this problem. And so, yes, we need to act. I think everybody knows the problem, but there are too little people working on solutions. So we need to push hard, and I think universities will have a big part in that to get people there and to motivate them to go into, to find their teams and to seed what is needed for the next steps.
What if you would be a professor at the university? What would be the most important aspect you want to give to your students?
The world is in change. Business is in change, changing. It will probably not be the same as you learn now in university. It will be different in a couple of years. So wherever, in whichever part of the university or in whichever kind of institute you are, I think it's important to be able to co-work with technology and with AI.
So would you be actually for that to teach also AI usement at universities and even at schools, you know?
Absolutely. So there's a big lack, and the problem is not with the young people. They really want to go for it and they try things out and so on. It's rather with the current leadership that needs to catch up for themselves to feel comfortable with this topic. I see people are not comfortable at all with the topic, and if they are not themselves, how can they create the world around for others?
They also understand it, because I have many friends who are teachers. They are obviously a bit younger, so they are still enthusiastic about implementing those changes. But one friend of me who's teaching at one school told me about a problem that they wanted to introduce AI to their students, but most of the teachers were against it, because it's difficult for them to learn AI and then as well to teach AI to students who probably also think that they know it better than the teacher. So I think it will be very important, but also super difficult to implement those changes.
Yeah, but there's no alternative.
Yeah, true. And we spoke a lot about alternatives and how our future will evolve. What do you think is the best and worst case scenario when it comes to AI for us as humanity?
The best case, if we really find new knowledge through AI, be it to health topics, to energy, climate topics, and so on, to really have a huge improvement in the knowledge. And I think we see that in certain fields already. And I think there is a lot of really great opportunity to make life better. The worst case is the power scenario worldwide. So there's China, there's US, there's Europe, there are others. So the differences are very high. And I think there's the most, the worst case somewhere. Because political power connected to technical power is very powerful.
I agree, and we will need a lot of energy actually to power all the AI usage in the future.
Yes, it's dramatic, although there are lots of people working on it, that you don't need that much.
Okay.
But at the same time, large companies, especially in the US, invest massively in new data centers and so on, which of course need energy.
Yeah, and we talked a lot about your career, about your companies, but I would be very curious about you. What are you most proud of about your career?
Well, I think everything that we did not really plan, but we reached very good milestones, very high milestones, and this is very rewarding because you know what you did it for. And so I think I always did what I liked. So what I really wanted to push, I'm also very curious to solve problems. And I'm able to create what I did, what I do, and what I will do.
It's beautiful. And what would you say were the most important skills during your career?
I would say not giving up, even if you get bad feedbacks. I see that people are giving up too fast. So really pushing it to the other side, this will make you extremely good if you get bad feedback. So this is something I really like, and I really learned from it. And as soon as you turn it around, you completely feel comfortable with it. And that's important for entrepreneurs, because it's not that everybody loves what you do and thinks, oh my God, what's she in? And why is she doing this? And no, it will never fly and so on. You know, when you saw it once, it flies. You know, I can do it, and maybe I can't, and maybe at the end it will be not. But you have your self-motivation, and you have the strength to keep this train going all the time. I think that's important. Finding a team. So my work is not possible alone. In Europe, I see a lot of businesses that say, I need to do everything, so this is not anymore the time, and I don't need to do all the value chain, and I'm forced in my business to work with a huge ecosystem. So with other companies, I also need a lot more companies in Europe. So basically, we now are forced to work with Chinese companies and US, because we don't have an European alternative. For certain data, for certain model approaches, for methods, for even cultural topics or other things around AI. So I think these are all obstacles that can hold you back, and where you can basically also lose a lot of energy. But it's important to reconnect to where you wanted to go and to write this strategy forward.
That's a very interesting advice. And what would you, if you ever got the possibility to talk with your younger self, studying at the university, what would you tell yourself?
I think go really hard for the things you like and you want to, you see that you are good in. And go hard. So nothing comes for free. Unfortunately, it's a lot of work in the background. And if you study hard and if you really dive into what you really also like to do, I think that's the best combination you can have, and you can reach very far.
What sacrifices have you made during your career?
Certainly time. So the work-life balance is not much balanced.
So what would you advise younger students when it comes to this topic, work-life balance? Is it possible to get it as an entrepreneur?
I think it never was, and it never will be in a way, depending on what you do exactly. But if you're passionate about it, it's not really like losing something.
So you gain something new that's very exciting.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. And finally, I would love to know, if everything is said and done, what do you want your life work to stand for?
Well, if I could somehow contribute a smaller or bigger puzzle in the future of people in Europe, I would certainly be happy about it, because I think we have great conditions at the moment, prosperity, and we're living a great life. And I think I wouldn't want this to go backwards, but forwards. And whatever helps in this regard, and what is necessary in this regard, I think it's worth it to go for it.
Do you think there is a danger of the European Union that we like go back in times, have less opportunities, and like go backwards? Do you think it's a possibility?
I think we are on this way.
So what do we need right now to gain control?
I think we need more motivation possibilities for entrepreneurs, more education at the management level of large companies, on the board level, on the supervisory level. I think there are lots of competencies missing that are super necessary for planning the future. Doing a strategy 2 years ago is not anymore the same like doing a strategy now. And I think people on this leadership level, they really create the future, but they are in a not that healthy state. And changing this to a more comfortable way of working with AI, knowing how to do things, knowing how to think differently, knowing how the new methods about strategy. So basically executive education is super important to go fast into this new world of opportunities and threats.
Sounds also like a mentality issue that we have.
Definitely. So there is not years of time for changing big companies. It's really, we're talking about months. Sometimes we're talking about weeks. It's tremendous to see how some sectors are forced to change because otherwise they can simply close down. Others don't feel it that strong in the first beginnings, but it's the same tendency basically.
You're a bit too risk averse here.
Yes, and this knowledge it's a little bit uncomfortable because basically everybody talks about AI, and for the leadership level, I think there's a lot of knowledge not there. There's not a big ecosystem where you can learn. Not many companies, or basically no companies, that did it already 100 times. Yeah, so that's a very bad feeling at the leadership level, because it's completely new and it's very broad and it needs your attention beside many other things, but it's also very hard to get that knowledge.
I think with the amount of knowledge you have about artificial intelligence, we will have you back at our podcast very quickly to talk about new topics. Thank you very much for this super curious conversation. I learned so much about AI today, and I really hope that your startup will evolve as quickly as it is now, because then we would have at least one huge European company leading in the artificial intelligence sector. So wish you lots of luck, lots of success. And thank you very much for being my guest today.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day.
You too.